Hi there, this is Joseph Gray. I'm the founder of DR Metrics. I want to talk a little bit about infomercial research. Now, infomercial describes a ad format within the direct response industry of 28.5 minutes in length. Often we'll call these program length advertisements. Now, DR Metrics is one of just a handful of companies that actually monitors networks and tracks the occurrence of all of the infomercial airings. Now, we don't stop there because we also measure 5 minute and every other format in short form. So we're very inclusive with our technology and what we do. But a couple things that are very interesting to know right off the bat about DR Metrics and about our competitive media research AdSphere, and that is that the purpose behind our focus in this industry category is because these advertisers all understand, based on measuring consumer response, which of their creatives perform best, which of the network buys and specific day part buys they're doing are performing best. Because they can measure the results of their advertising, if certain network day parts aren't performing well, they'll discontinue those in the buy and really focus on where they're generating the best ROI. So you can apply the actionable insights in AdSphere to any type of television campaign, because what it allows you to understand is across 165 industry verticals, across thousands of different advertisers, what's really working best, not just looking and using the data of GRP and Nielsen, but understanding from those advertisers that really do measure their KPIs and their ROI where they're having the best success. Now I'm going to scroll down here because there are a couple other very interesting things about our technology that are good to know. One is that in addition to using ACR so that we can recognize the occurrence of spots and even the 28.5 minute infomercials, the big challenge is how do we recognize new creative the minute it runs on across any of the 120 networks we monitor, so that we can get it into the database so that the ACR then can take over, sort of like Shazam on your mobile phone, how it can listen to radio and immediately tell you what it's listening to and the music that you might be listening to. We've adapted that for television using both audio and video version of ACR. But again, the big challenge for the industry is if a new infomercial runs and we've never seen it before, then we can't really use ACR to recognize it. So, that's a manual process, and you may happen to miss a lot of infomercial creative. You might miss a lot of short form creative. So Geometrics solved this problem by being the first company to use pattern recognition and optical character recognition in a layer that's able to recognize that, hey, here's a new program that we're seeing, and it has 800 numbers coming in and out of the program, and it has using the optical character recognition, price points coming in and out. So the software is intelligent. It knows when it has detected these DR attributes, as we call them, and it knows that it doesn't recognize the content around it. In other words, it's not an existing creative. It's not in the database yet. So in the most inclusive way possible, DR Metrics has used technology to detect immediately whenever a new direct response creative runs, and to then include it in the database, and then to use the ACR layer to recognize any time that creative runs from that point forward across any of 120 networks that we monitor 24/7. Now, as I scroll down the page, just tell you a little bit about AdSphere. For those reasons I just described, you can see why it's the most timely, accurate, and expansive research database. It is a real-time system, so we're getting the airings into the database within 30 minutes of actual airtime. Since we deployed the technology at the end of 2014 in December, so we're literally just around 3 years in at this point, we've already detected and registered over 31,000, close to 32,000 unique creatives. And this is across all the formats, 28.5 minute, 5, and spot. This real-time intelligence, again, is available across 120 networks, and we're detecting new brands and creatives and advertisers every month, literally hundreds of those. And because it's a real-time system, you can get in on a daily basis. You can look at the current day's activity on any network or across all networks. You can see for the current media week or any time frame that you're interested in going back historically, what are the top infomercials, what are the top creatives, what are the top network day parts? These are the the hard questions that we answer. Statistics are available on our website as you scroll further down, and these are always accurate to within 15 minutes. You can see that we've detected over 25 million spot airings that are now in the database, and all of those insights that are available by analyzing those airings. Over 271,000 infomercial airings have also been detected. In total, over 7,700 brands, 4,200 advertisers are available to study within our AdSphere product. So this is an example of what AdSphere looks like. Over on the left-hand side here, there are a lot of different industry categories, and as you expand any of these categories, you can see a lot of subcategories underneath each. 165 individual verticals that you can study, again, to understand top performing brands, advertisers, network executions, etc. Now, I ran a report for year-to-date 2018, so we're only looking at about 2 weeks worth of data here. And we can see so far this year that the #1 infomercial brand is 3-Week Yoga Retreat. We can see that's from the Advertiser Beachbody, 211 airings. Now we use a spend index, and we do ingest into our system post logs from a lot of direct response agencies every week, so we understand what the value of the different airings are. And the infomercial that has the highest projection of total schedule valuation gets a spend index of 100. Every other infomercial is given a spend index based on the correlation between their spend and the top spend. So LifeLock, for example, estimate the schedule's 78.77% of 3-Week yoga, and come down here and we're looking at Nutrisystem, their infomercial, they're spending about 43% of what 3-Week yoga is spending. That gives you a pretty good idea. If you expand out the creatives column, you can see by frequency all the different infomercial creatives. In the case of 3-Week yoga, their top creative so far this year has run 115 times. Now the next creative here has only run 49 times. So without really having to drill any further, I get a sense that this top creative is their best performing creative. Now I can click over here on these play buttons and watch each of these creatives.
The following is a paid advertisement for the 3-Week Yoga Retreat, brought to you by Beachbody.
So it's great to be able to get a hold of all these creative assets and to learn from them. And of course, the other side of the coin is I want to look at the media execution. So if I click on the airings, I can see historically for this particular brand how many national infomercial airings they've had per week. It's a relatively new campaign. That's why we're basically seeing a big bump here that starts toward the end of the year, week 46 in November. They were doing some testing and then they started to ramp up thereafter. We can see the units by day of week. If I click on hour of day here, I can see where they're running the most units by hour of day. A lot of units in 4, 5, and 6A, pretty typical for infomercials. If I scroll down, I can see by frequency the top network is U2 America. I can drill in further and see the different creatives they're running and how many units. I can click on the airings and go deeper. So now I'm looking at historically the units by week for U2 America, and I can also see the different infomercial slots, the day of week and half hour of the day where they've run. I can hit this Excel button here and export all of those airings. And if the airings are within 10 days, I can actually play back airing level videos. So actually we keep a copy of the ad as it was recorded live off the air, and all of these individual videos again are available to play back. So if you're the advertiser and you want to check your infomercial creative to make sure audio and video levels were correct, the right 800 number ran, and all of those types of things, our product allows you to do that. Now, when we're using the system, we can use global search and come up here and we could type in any brand, any creative name, any advertiser name. So if I were to type in 3-Week, for example, looking across the entire database, I can see a lot of different brands. If I click on 3-Week Yoga Retreat, or if I click it here or if I click on Beachbody here, all of that will lead me to the Beachbody page. Now we have dedicated pages for every direct response advertiser in the industry, and at the top of these pages you have company information, contact information as well. You can reach out to these individuals. We have social networking links as well. Now, if you scroll down here, you can see since we clicked on 3-week yoga retreat, we brought that up to the top of the view. You can click in and see all of the different creatives. You can click and see the media execution, and then we have all of the other brands of Beachbody going back historically. We can immediately see which ones are currently active because they have a green status icon, and by that I mean they've had activity in the last 30 days. Any brand that hasn't had activity in the last 30 days will have a red status. And we have selectors up here, so if I just wanted to see inactive or I wanted to see only the active campaigns, etc., I can quickly do that. Now I can toggle between their short form and their long form execution. So in the case of 3-week yoga retreat, I can click over on long form. Immediately I learned that Beachbody is the #1 ranked long form advertiser in the industry, and historically we have over 25,000 airings of theirs in the system across 21 brands and 118 individual infomercial creatives in the system. So there's a huge amount of creative research data here to play with. And if I click on short form, I can learn that Beachbody is ranked 307 across all of their short form advertisers in the industry. And I can see everything in the database. There's 17 short form brands that they've had across 57 creatives since December of 2014. Now we have a feature called tracking and alerts. So if I'm on an advertiser page, I click the tracking button, I can ask the system to alert me via email on a daily basis whenever the system detects a new brand launched by Beachbody or a new creative that they launch for any of their brands. And I can have the system send me these alerts either on a daily basis or weekly, or if I just want to do a daily and a weekly synopsis, I can choose both. The other thing I can do is I can track across all of the 165 industry categories or select any composition of categories. Let's say I'm only interested in tracking beauty, hygiene, and personal care or any of the subcategories underneath. I can just go in and select or deselect any combination of brand or creative, letting the system know that I want to be alerted for any new brand and or creative that's detected for that industry category. Now I can also refine it coming down here under brand classification and say, you know what, I only want to receive alerts for new infomercial brands or creatives. Or if I'm interested in short form, I can ask to receive short form product alerts, lead generation, or brand direct types of campaigns. And again, I can set my alert frequency as well. If I want to dive in and look at network composition, now we can see that 53 networks year to date of the 120 plus networks that DR Metrics monitors have infomercial airings. Clearly not all of the networks run infomercials, but let's say I want to jump into A&E and see everything that A&E's done year to date. It's just that simple. I can see who the top infomercial brands are on A&E, and I can track A&E if I want to alert me if any new brands are detected. Again, I can make that infomercial brands. So my choices are I can monitor at the advertiser level and get alerts, the network level or the category level. In the ranking system itself, I can toggle between advertiser rankings, so I can see here that, for example, Beachbody is ranked number 10 year to date on A&E, and if I expand out, I can see this is across 2 brands, and if I expand further, I can see the individual creatives. So it's a really nice nested, very intuitive approach. If I want to deselect A&E as a network and go back to all of the 53, I can easily do that. And again, I can see that Beachbody is the #1 advertiser so far this year. And I can see how that spend index is allocated across their 3 brands. I mean, clearly 3-week yoga retreat is the top brand for them this year so far. I can also ask the system to alert me for any new brands or advertisers. Now let me toggle back over to brands so far this year and ask the system to show me only new brands that have been discovered so far in 2018. And here are two new infomercial brands so far this year that have been discovered, and I can dive in and see the specifics. Now I'm on the TriStar page, and I can get right down here and watch the creative. This obviously would be an infomercial creative. And we could see that it ran most recently on the Travel Channel on the 9th of January.
The following is a paid advertisement for the Yawn Air Instant Bed brought to you by TriStar Products.
So if you're looking for the ultimate research system for infomercials or any other form of direct response, you have found it. And we invite you to have a free 2-week trial of AdSphere on us. Just reach out to sales@drmetrics.com. We look forward to hearing from you. Thanks so much.